recording now. So as I said, I have this is the way my data is set up. It's just very simple, nothing fancy. I have an item data type which has an item image, item name, and item price, and then I have orders. Orders have items, and let's give it order number. This time around, we're going to make this order number a text because it will contain. We want our Paystack reference to be our order number. And then we now have a user, right? This user now has orders, right? Item, normal item, name, image, and price. Orders has a list of items and an order number. Then user now has a list of orders. I believe everybody is following, Abby. So now let's do what we are here to do. First thing, let's get the Paystack API. So before we begin, let me share a little story, sharp. So it's about this Paystack API. So I remember I posted on Twitter that I did Paystack API, and then I had found somebody that was having a problem with Paystack API on Bubble. So on the Bubble forum, there was someone that was having problems with Paystack API on the Bubble forum. So when I now found out to do it, I reached out to the person that okay, guy, this is how to do Paystack API on Bubble forum, and then the person now reached out back to me that oh that thank you and all, but he couldn't still figure out how to do it, like how to make it work, even after I told him how to do it, because the thing is complicated a bit, and then there's some mistakes, or how will I put it? It's like mistake on the Paystack documentation. So but I'll be showing you guys how to do it. So after that guy had to pay me to help him to integrate Paystack API. So I don't chop Paystack money. I be bubble money like that. So what I'm just saying is that so people are having like this kind of problems that are plenty. That they don't want to build apps, so they just have one problem. They are stuck one way or another, and they're everywhere. That you can chop their money. So just a quick heads up. So let's go to Paystack doc. So first thing, right? If you go to Paystack documentation, like this is where you first get to, and you might want to be like, okay, maybe I should start from here and check it from here. But sometimes the documentations in this place might not be enough for what you want in Bubble. So that's why I go to this place. It's paystack/doc/API/transactions. This one shows all the transaction API endpoints that you get. So now, the first one we want, right, is to initialize a transaction. We want to be able to pay. So you get. So that's just initialize transaction, and it has headers, right? Okay. So it has headers and it has you see, and it has parameters. So we might look at this now and be like, okay, now you feel like, okay, which one should I use? So if I want to, let's say we want a new API now, we'll call it Paystack API, right? So which authentication method should you use? That's the first thing. If we look at this place now, we'll see that this is a header, right? This is a header. That's another header. and then we have parameters which are email and amounts. So we are going to use, if we look at this now, the one that we feel that we should use is private key in header, because it has two headers. But this would work, but I will show you now. I will show you in two ways now. Let's use private key in header first. So it says in the documentation now, it says authorization, bearer, and then your secret key. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to copy my secret key here, and then I'm going to copy this. Okay, we already have authorization there, but let me just copy it so that we don't have any problem. This is authorization now. Now here it says bearer and your secret key. So if you copy this one now, so you have bearer, then you change this one now to your secret key. Yeah. So you change this to your secret key. So now the first endpoint that we want to do is initialize transaction. You can limit to whatever you want. Well, let us spell that right. Initialize transaction. And if you look at it here now, you see this place. This place is very, very important. It tells you that it's post, right? So it's not a get request. You are sending something to a Paystack. You are posting something. You are posting your amount and maybe that person's email so that they can send them an email for a receipt. So you are sending it to Paystack. You are not getting anything back from them. So you get, you're just sending. So that's why it's a post. So post here. Then we go back. We change this to post. And something is very, very important here again. Some people miss this, like that person I told you about. He had some mistakes there. When you have post, you have to change from data to action because you are performing an action now. When you have get, you change it back to data because you are getting data. You understand? Post is an action, get is data. So don't forget, always remember that post, make sure it's action, get is data. Now, go back to our API. It says we can set up this is another header, right? Which is, we can set up our first header now. And this content type equals to application JSON. But if we look at the way Bubble is set up, you see that we don't need to set that one. This already tells us that this is a JSON data type. So we don't need to set that one. Now, let's continue. So we now go to parameters, right? So the first parameter is amount. And look at this very well. It says this amount, right, is in kobo. Don't forget, it's in kobo. It's not in naira. So when you are setting up your data, like when you want to send to Paystack, don't forget to multiply anything you are sending to Paystack by 100 so that it can turn to naira. Very, very important too. Or else you just get instead of you to get maybe 500k, you are going to get 5,000, and you are going to be losing money. That's a way to jail. So post, then let's copy our endpoint. So this is our endpoint, right? We copy that in. And then we add our parameters. We have two parameters that we're going to add. The first parameter, the important ones, because if you look at if you check this place very well, like this app accepts payments normally, it will tell you that the ones that are required, right? Your key is required, the email is required, the amount is required. The other ones are not really required like that. But let's continue first. We'll see the ones we need now. So the first one is amount, right? Oh, I didn't copy that. So the first one is amounts. Amounts. Let's make this 50,000, 5,000, 50,000. Don't forget it's in Kobo. And one pro tip here, right? If make sure you don't sell um when Joe was teaching us, he said we shouldn't make everything private, right? But then there are some things that you can make private. There are some things that the reason why you might make it private now is if this 5,000 is the 50,000 now is what you want. Like you want it to always be 50,000, so you can make it private. It won't show there. It won't show in your bubble when you are doing data or whatever. It won't show there. It will just be this 5,000 that is sending every time. So remove private from here, and you can check allow blank. What this allow blank does is that when you now go to bubble and you want to send data to Paystack, this normally this that this 5,000 will be there. Normally you have to now change it back to your dynamic amounts. But if you choose allow blank, it won't show this 5,000. It will know that this 5,000 was just used to test this API. So that's what allow blank does. So the next key that we're going to be working with is the email. Let me just write it. So that's the email. So you can have any email here. Example at mail.com. Don't forget, remove private and choose allow blank. So we'll see that those are the two that are compulsory um, according to Paystack. But then what we want is that we want that when we go to Paystack, because we are using Bubble, it's not going to give us a pop-up that allows us to pay. It's going to take us to the Paystack website and take us back to our own URL when we finish paying. So now the next important one now is will be callback URL. So what callback URL just simply means is when you're done paying, where should it go back to? You get? So please, if you have any question as I'm going on, let's be asking. So that's our callback URL. We're just going to paste that for now. So check from private, you can allow blank. And then I think we are done. These are the important ones we need now. So now, if I initialize this call, right, you see we have 200. We are good to go. You can show the raw data to see what it's giving us. You know that it will give us a reference. It's going to give us a reference. Cool. Now, the next one we want to get is, we can initialize payment now. But then, how does Bubble know that this payment was successful? But first thing, let's play with this first before we go to verify payments. So As I said, I have a simple stuff here. I have two issues. What are my two issues? Okay. Um, so now I have current items image. If you check here, you see that this is what I have now. I have my green sweater and my black sweater. Well, it's not even black. But let's continue. I have my green sweater and I have my black sweater. So now I'll now go to workflow for this buy, right? I'll say start or edit workflow. Now, once I buy, I want I will now go to it will be in plugin. I want to initialize a transaction the moment I buy. You go down to plugin and you see it. It will show up there. Even though it's not a plugin, it's an API, but it will show up in plugin. So I will say Paystack initialize transaction. You see now, because I clicked on allow blank, it's not giving me all those ones again. Normally it should give me 5,000 here or whatever here or whatever here. So now I'm going to say this now. I want this current sell items item price as my amount. So what was my amount there? The amount there was 20,000. So and we know that that's just like 20,000 kobo, which is like how much is that? That's like 200. So if you want it to be a real 20,000 now, we have to multiply it by 100. You get, because it was kobo that Paystack uses kobo. So you multiply it by 100 to get the right amount that you want. Now, email. This should be current user's email, right? And this callback URL, this we're going to come back to this, but for now, let's put it at this URL. We want it to come back to this page. Okay, so normally you think that okay, we are done now, it should work. But then because because we are not allowing, well, I don't think Bubble allows the Paystack API itself to come out as a pop-up here, unlike that Stripe API that comes out as a pop-up. So if I click on buy now, it's supposed to take me to the page. You see that this loads, but nothing happens. So what you now do is you now go back there. After this now, we want to go to an external website. We want to go to Paystack website now where we will pay. Like it will just take us to that place that we'll pay now. So I'll now go navigate to open an external website. Now we still want to continue with this. We want to take all these things now, right? We want to go from there. So we are going to open a dynamic data. We're going to use the result of this one. You see that we have status, we have message, we have authorization URL. We're now going to use the authorization URL. That means to authorize the payment, the URL for the payment. We are going to use it. So we are going to go to that page. So now, if I go back now and I click on buy, it's going to take me to Paystack. So I'm going to check out. And you see that we have 20,000 now. So you can, anything that you want, you can say you want success or declined or whatever. So I'm going to pay 20,000. And this my email there. That's the current user's email. I'm going to pay this. And it's going to set this. And then it's now going to take me back to that place. And I just received an email from Paystack now. So now, let me accept this person. So now you see that we've been able to pay on Paystack. But now think about it. Now that you've been able to pay, right? how does Bubble know that you have paid? How do you know that you have paid? Because if you check your data now, right? Um, we didn't even set that thing to go to current user or whatever. For example, now we say we want this, Abby. We want this, we want this, we want this. But then let's make something now. Let's create a new make changes to let's create a new what are we creating now? We're going to create a new order. So things create a new thing, orders. So add up fields. Item is no 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 no, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. So right, once you click this, you've already created a new once you click this, it's okay. So we're going to create a new order. Go to data, create a new order. So we're going to add this item equals to going to add current sales item. So we're going to add this current sales item on this create a new order now, and we're going to send it back here. So if we do this again now, so if we do this again, we click on buy, takes us to Paystack. So success comes back. And if you notice something, when it comes back, it comes back to our page. It gives us a reference on this our page. Do you see? Transaction reference equals to Paystack is sending a reference back to us. This will be useful later. But first, let's check our data now. So if we go to orders now, if we go to app data for orders, that means we have a new order. We can change the order to be make it items. So it should show okay, let's just make these items. So we have a new order. This is the order. So it has this the item that we clicked on it. So and then we can also say that order now, right? This order that is created, we can also say make changes to thing, right? Make changes to current user, right? So that order is inside current user now, right? We're going to add the result of step 1 to it. That means this order now, we are going to add it to the user's orders. After an order is created, we are going to now add that order to the user's orders. So I'm just trying to go very slow so that you understand the process, because the process is very important here. So we have success, we have this, cool, takes us back. Nice. So if we now go to if we go to users now, so user has an order now. So you get so that order now, this order that was created last was sent to the user. The user now has this order now. So now How do you now know that, okay, this order now that occurred, how do you know that it was successful, or it was not successful, or whatever? So you get. So what we first do is that once the moment you initialize a transaction, right? The moment you initialize any transaction, the your reference comes from that transaction. Like when you initialize a transaction, you can get a message, you can get a reference, you can get for example now, if we check this place now where we said my boss. So if we check
Well
what
done, guys.
what are you doing here, boss?
Just came to just spice me.
So if we check this place now, you see that we have authorization here. That means this order, this thing that we did now, it has a status, it has a message, it has authorization here, it has access code, and it has a reference. So this reference now is the same reference that Paystack will give us back. If we check this place now, this reference will be the same reference that we're getting from that place. So what we can now do is say, okay, before we go to an external website, right? We want our order now, right? We want to make a change, make changes to thing. So um, current where is it? Create new order. So this one. We want to make changes to that thing. We want to make the order number now to be now result of step 3, which is the initialization now. So you get, so result of this reference. So now we have a reference now. You get. So that means anytime now that we go to we make a new payment now. Anytime we make a new payment, so if I click on this, right, it takes me to Paystack, right? And you make a new payment, it takes you back. And you have we'll go back to our data now. We'll go back to orders. So look at our order number now, F11 whatever. So we have that one now as our reference. So let's now go and get there's an API endpoint on Paystack called, this is it, verifies transaction. So you want to confirm your transaction status because you want to know whether your user's payment is successful or not successful. So this is where this thing gets tricky, and I'm going to show you now. So if I go back here now and say add another API, right? So let's call this verify transaction. And don't forget, when I told you you should check this page, you see that this one is a get now. It's a get request, not a post request. So cool. Make sure it's a get, and get is data. That's correct. And then our API endpoint. Let's all right. This is where I was saying that there was a mistake in the API endpoint. I'm going to show you guys now. And look at something. I want you to look at something now, right? You see that this thing now is not saying parameters. Unlike this, let me hide this one first. So here now it says where is it? Yeah, it just says body parameters for the first one that we did. So this one is body parameter. But if you check this one, right, this one is path parameter. It's different from body parameter, and I will show you why now. So we've copied our endpoints, right? So let's go back. So if I paste this endpoint here now, and what else does it say it needs? It says it needs header, authorization, and bearer secret key. So let's add a new header to it. So just copy from here. This is where you try to pay attention because there's something going on here. You can copy that. Always make sure that when you have headers, always make sure it's checked as private. Yes, because you don't want your browser to be able to know your secret key. You get, if your browser can know your secret key, if you are compromised, they can get your secret key from your browser and do stuff with your API. So always make sure it's checked that it's checked on private. So next one is it's saying parameters, right? It's saying it just needs a reference. Cool. So if I go now and I say add parameter, of course it says it needs a reference now. Let's even copy it. So that's reference, and we want a value for a reference. So let's just get one of this. Let's just get this and check private and allow blank. So now we should be done now. So if we initialize transaction now, if we are following our Paystack, how we did the first one, we should get a 200 now. But look at something now. It's saying status false, transaction reference not found. You might be like, what is happening? This is a transaction reference now. But sometimes it might be because the reference is not from your own end. So this is a reference that we got from our own end. So let's copy this. So this is a reference that we got from our own end. Let's copy this. Still, transaction reference not found. Why? Let's look at this. Look at this place. It says api.paystack.co/transaction/verify slash then colon reference. That's the way it's telling us, right? That's what it's telling us here. That's what we should do. But then it's this place is telling us that this is a path parameter, not a body parameter. And what we are doing here now, it's a body parameter. So first thing, we're going to delete this one. Now, how do we get a path parameter? What a path parameter just means is that it's part of this thing now is part of the URL itself. You get? And look at what Bob is telling us now. If you want to add params to this thing now, you should use this your square brackets. So now you can now do like this. You delete this reference that you have here. Delete that. Then have your brackets there. Now, if you have your brackets like this now, if you have a space, you see that another parameter will now come down here that you can input. These are your URL parameters. So there are URL parameters that are added to this. So you can now say, you can now put reference here. Anything you put here will be your key. You get? So we now have reference now. Our value for our reference now paste this now. So let's initialize call. You see, we got a 200 now. So we don't have any have any problem anymore. So that's all the params that we need. And these are the things that is going to get you. Look at it. We have ID, we have domain, we have status, we have amount, we have gateway response, we have the dates. Anything you want, you can now get from this now. So if we now go back here, we now want to get our we want to get our we want to know maybe our what's it called, our payment now was successful or not, right? So one thing we can do is that I don't want to do anything complicated. Let me just find. So we can have something like this. Let's have something like this. Now you can now say what is it? Let's go to data now, right? Inside data, inside these orders now, let's add a new data field to it. So we'll now call this status code. So the field type will be text. So now we want to get status code. And remember from where we were checking status code now. Status code, where is status code? Okay, we're going to need gateway response, not status code. Gateway response. Let's change that to gateway response. So now, here now we want um, current users, orders, we want the last items gateway response to show here. You get the last one that you did, we want the gateway response to be here. So we'll do a workflow now on page load for this place. So when page is loaded, right? So because you know that our callback is coming back to this place. So we now say make changes to thing. We want to change, do a search for orders, right? I want to search for the last item. That's the last order, right? So we want to change the gateway response now to now. This is how we're going to do it now. We're now going to say we want to get maybe it's successful or not. You get. So we go to get data from external API. What's our API provider, right? Paystack verify transaction. That's what we want. So we want to want the verify transaction. So gateway response. Oh, wait, this should ask for a reference now. So we want the gateway response now to be right. Paystack verify transaction. Get data from external API. Paystack verify. Did I? Okay, let me see. I think the reference is on private plugins. Yeah, you see, when I was telling you about private now, you see that the reference was on private, so it's not allowing me to input reference now. So I need to reinitialize the call. So now So this is what I want. And I'll go back and let me have allow blank here. So go back to my workflow. So um, get data from external API. So get data from external API now. We have Paystack verification. And now we want, it's asking us for the reference. You get? And you remember that we saved our reference before if you were following me. Look at this place. What we did was we said make changes, right? Order number, we made it our Paystack reference. We made our Paystack reference to be our order number. You get? So now, if you want to get our Paystack reference now of that transaction now, so this one will now be, right? You can say do a search for, right, orders. Do a search for orders, last items, order number, because we've made that one our reference number. So we now want the gateway response of this now. I hope you guys are following me. So we want the gateway response of this now. So once this page is loaded, you know that now we've um, we've bought stuff now, right? If we want to get the gateway response of the stuff we bought last now, see, it's telling us successful now. So now we know that the last one that we bought was successful. Now let's try something else. So let's buy this. So we want declined, right? So transaction was declined. I'll go back. See now, our gateway response is declined. So now you can know if your transaction was now successful or declined, and you can act um, from that. You can say, okay, if this was not, if this was successful, then it should maybe add that order to current users' orders. But if it's not successful, it should not add it. You get? So that's just I think that was fast, and I know that I wasn't carrying a lot of people along. But so if you have questions now, so let's deal with questions now. If you have questions now, if you understand first before anybody does, if you understand, please say yes.
I think yeah, but then since the recording will be available,
Yeah,
I can perfect the understanding with the recording.
yeah.
Exactly. So I get all of the flows.
Mm-hmm.
All of the flows also okay.
Yeah, yeah. So now, cool, cool. I think just two people said they got it now. So if you have question now, give me a question. Who has any question? Was I going too fast? Did you not understand? Where? Okay, go ahead, Kabar.
Yeah, hi, I have a question. Okay, so I understand the flow of what you've done so far.
Okay.
This is basically in the context of an e-commerce payment, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Okay, so I want to understand. This might not be in this based on this particular use case,
Okay.
but then the API itself.
Yeah.
I know savings platform. I think they also use Paystack, right?
Yeah.
Paystack APIs.
I think so.
Flex payments, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the wallet part, do they use Paystack also?
Okay, yeah. I think Paystack offers wallet API, but I've not tried that. The ones I've tried is this payment API. So this one now, you know that you can use it to pay for anything, maybe goods or service or whatever that you want to do. This is just direct payment that I'm doing now. But you can always build from this. If you understand this one now, you can understand any any type of Paystack stuff now. So the most important part that you just have to take note now is this um this thing here, because it's not, you can't use it directly the way it was sent from Paystack. So you get,
Yeah, the
so
reference part,
yeah,
the
the
part.
reference part,
Yeah,
because the way it was sent from Paystack, it had that colon, and I think Bubble was not recognizing it. So you have to do this, and then I think what else? Um, yeah. The this one, this post now and action. You have to know that if you are using post, you use action. If you are using get, you use data. Because if you use action now for if you use data for post, you won't get a 200. So I think that's just it. Does anybody have any other question? If you don't understand at all, I can go over it again. Okay, that means everybody understands then. So that's nice. Since everybody understands, I think we are done now. We're done. And let me see, I'm still recording. So the recording of this will be, I think I will try to post it on YouTube tonight. Then it should be available by tomorrow morning.
Yeah, thank you. I
Yeah.
want to add that one of the other topic is Einstein, or what's his name? Is he going to take it, or
Yeah, the thing
what's
is,
going
the
to
reason why I
happen?
didn't take Stripe was that I have not implemented
Mm,
Stripe myself. So you get,
okay.
so I can't I can't for a certain say this is how to use the Stripe or something, but I know that if I don't know, I think maybe Einstein or Biodun will will take that, or anybody else can take itself. Even maybe Isaac can take it for us. So
All right, no problem.
yeah,
All right, thanks for this one that you take. Oh,
yeah,
it's quite understandable. And since the recording will be available,
yeah.
one can always go through it step by step and implement it.
No, no, thank you. You're welcome. And before we finish, Isaac is Isaac here?
Yes, boss.
Yeah,
I'm
boss.
here.
Send us bubble money now. Now only you be. Send us this
The,
money.
the issue is since the way we love no code work
Yeah.
actually is they don't pay immediately they give the job out.
Okay.
Understand? So they only have a period of time in which they pay. So irrespective, I might have worked, let's say 48 hours
Yeah.
or whichever number of hours, depending on the deal I strike with them. They only make payments at their own set date. Until then, even you will say that I've not even made mention of it
Yeah. True.
because it's still
So have you have
looking
you
like
done
a dream
any
to
have you
me.
done any job for them?
I just got a notification of one some minutes ago.
Okay.
So hopefully I've
Nice.
selected a meeting with them. So hopefully if they honor it,
Okay.
then fine. That will be my first one.
Okay. Nice. We will all be sending account number. No other. And I think I
It's
think
fine,
is
man.
Ali still
Isaac,
here?
I have a question for
Ali
Isaac.
too.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Okay.
the way we love no code works, is it that you get in when a client makes a request for a no code dev, do they still interview you, or we love no code just assigns the job to you if you're available?
No, you as far as you've done the interview, first
Yeah.
it will be Victoria. Victoria is like their talent sourcer, or what do they call it over there? We just source for talent and get you on board to be interviewed. Then once you are interviewed, your data will be imputed in their database. Once they have that, it's just like getting an employment in a bank.
Yeah.
The first day of your job might not even show. They might even sack you after some hours. But as far as you have your data, of course they can sack you later on. Once you have your data in their database and a client come on board and he or she needs this, then they don't interview any longer. They just get in touch with you via email that, hi, are you available for so and so? will you be able to do it? Like similar to all of the questions they asked during the interview. You understand? They just ask you straight that are you set? Will you be available? Once you respond yes, you get the go.
Nice, nice, nice. Aliyu,
Okay,
have they
nice.
given you job too?
Me particularly.
No, Aliyu too.
When,
Yeah.
okay.
When Isaac na be the first we get am, what you want?
You sef don dey employment now. You know what they share this money.
If Isaac never get, me I never get.
Isaac
No,
don
it
get
doesn't
now.
matter.
Go and check. Go and
It
check your
doesn't
mail.
matter now. It depends on the interview you have with them.
Go and check your
I'm
mail.
just okay.
As all of us gather dey, shall we go run am like 60-40 like that. No wahala.
Yeah, sure.
See, the end goal
That's
is
fine.
not our own Nigeria. Let's start
Okay.
our own below.
I swear. That's the plan now. That's the plan. Okay. I'll stop using this now. All right, guys. Thank you for joining the session. And
Thank you, Ayomide. Thank you for.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much, bro.
You're welcome, guys.
If you are playing around, you can try and play into the wallet part of Paystack.
Okay, wallet.
That would really be interesting to all.
I'm trying to do something with fintech later, Sha. So I think we'll be
nice.
using that wallet. Bro.
Is there a Flutter Wave API?
Yeah, there is, of course. There is Flutter. Itaswitch does. Itaswich does.
But I think it's speed.
Just drop the API. No. This is the thing, eh? The Flutter Wave API, the no API is most of those API. I don't think they are paid. Self, it's the plugin that might be paid. So you get maybe someone, for example, now if you search Paystack plugin now, you see that it's paid from zero code, and the way those zero code, the way they set up their own API, the way they set up their own plugin, I don't actually like it at all because it's like when you use it, it now takes you to like you have to have that item on your Paystack dashboard itself. So you get, so you can't just like send amounts to them and they send status back to you. The way they do it is that you have that item, someone is buying that item, just like Stripe does. You know that Stripe now, when you have to have like that item already on Stripe, then you now come back and now put that item on in one of the inputs. So I think that was how they did their own share. But I think Flutter Wave plugin should be free.
It's like Paystack store, right? It's
Yeah. You know Paystack has store too. You can use that. You can use it that way too. But if you want like direct payments without setting up a store on Paystack, you can just use this method. So that's it. Flutter Wave too has I think they have a free plugin. Someone made a free plugin for Flutter Wave, but anything that deals with money, if the plugin is not made by Bob or someone that you trust well, I beg you, try to do it yourself, because if you are using someone's plugin and they are stealing your secret key or your client's secret key or something like that, so it's better to be on the privacy side of stuff. So you should only trust plugins that are made by Bubble or that are made by people that you know, maybe people that you know outside. Ja. So that's just an advice I have, because when it comes to financial something, if you do something for clients now, finish make it a go police station straight. So let's just try to be doing that. Yeah. So guys, thank you very much. Maybe we'll see when our bosses wants to teach us Stripe. All right, now take care, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Good night, guys.
Yeah.